Wishing you a very happy and a vibrant day. Myself Sushmita, going to take Science of Class 8, Lesson 1, Crop Production and Management. If you like my video, kindly subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon. The lesson which I am going to give now is very good for Class 8 students. Of course, yes, this is with reference to NCERT, and it is very good for competitions also, because here you can just brush up your knowledge. All living organisms require food. We all know that. And plants make their own food themselves because they are autotrophs. This is also known to us. But we are dependent on plants for food because we are heterotroph. This food is utilized by our body, breaking it up into simpler components with release of energy. And we all require energy. Regular production of food is required. When plants of same kind are grown and cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called crop. So the fields we see, these are crops. And now you know that India is a vast country. The climatic conditions like temperature, humidity and rainfall vary from one region to another. Accordingly, there is a very rich variety of crops also grown in India. So depending upon the season on which these crops are grown, they are divided into Kharif and Rabi crops. Now when we talk about crops, crops are either cereals, they are vegetables, they are fruits. And accordingly, they are divided into Kharif and Rabi crops. The crops which are sown in rainy season, like rice, the paddy, maize, etc., these are called Kharif crops. While as the plants which are sown in winter season, that is October, and they ripe up in March or May, this is Rabi crop. And for example, we can say wheat, gram and pea. To have a very good or a healthy crop, we have to take some agriculture practices for the development in our course for very good and healthy crop. Now, when we talk about agriculture practices, as we all know, that for plant, soil acts as an anchor, and plant collects its nutrient from soil itself. So first thing we need to do is preparation of soil. Now what should we do? Now you can just imagine some plant, a gamla in your house or any plant you have seen. You always know that first we loosen the soil. Now the question comes, wreck your mind, why do we lose the soil? We lose the soil for better, so that it becomes loose, of course, yes, and to breathe easily. The roots of the plants can also penetrate the soil very easily. We all know that the topsoil is of great use to the plants. Now the soil contains minerals, water and air. This is absorbed, the water and the mineral are absorbed by the plant. Living organism, dead plants, and they are in the soil and they are decomposed, and then we get the nutrients. These nutrients are released in the soil and this is again absorbed by the plants. So these nutrients help in healthy plants. So tilting, now we have to do the tilling of the soil. Now how these tilling, the instruments we use for this, the most traditional one is hull. You all know, you might have seen hull if you have been to the villages, or you might have seen hull. I mean, it's a very common traditional thing which we are using. So the sharp knife-like structure here tills the soil. The second structure which we use is hoe. What we call it? Hoe. That is also like hull only, but it is made up of iron. Hull, as you all know, is made up of wood. And nowadays there is a third one which we call as cultivators. They are the cultivator. They are attached to tractors. They have a knife, pin-like structures or knife-like structures attached to them, and then they till the soil. Now this as such is a machine, and it can very fast, it can till a large area. After this, we come to the next part, and that is sowing. Now you have to lay the grain so that you get the plants. So in sowing, what we do, now your soil is ready, you put the grains. Now it's very difficult to put one by one each grain in a soil, in a row, and then put them in a soil. Now there is a traditional method which was used previously, is that there is a funnel like structure in which we put the grains, and then it comes down and the grains are sown in the field. Now later we have, with the development, we have the seed drillers. Now this is again the development. Here, there at the time, you can see there are so many rows where you can plant. You put the grains here, and then it is distributed and they are planted at equidistance in rows. So this is a very nice, and now most of the people, they use this method. Now after this comes the adding of manure or fertilizers. First, we should understand the difference between the manure and fertilizers. Now manure is the organic substance which is obtained from decomposition of plants and animals, while as fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in a particular nutrient only. So you can see, for example, fertilizers, we can take urea, ammonia, potash, NPK, and these fertilizers are manufactured in the factory. So here you can see the difference between manure and fertilizers. Basically, you should be able to write it yourself. These all, adding of manure and fertilizer, enhances your yield and leads to better yield of crops. After this, we come to irrigation. Now, what is irrigation? Irrigation is watering your plants. It's very easy to water a gamla or a single plant, but how to water so many crops in a field? So we have different sources of irrigation. As you all might be knowing, kuan or the well, and you might have seen a pulley down there. So with the pulley, you pull the water into the bags or by the balti, and then you put it in the your fields. But this is a very difficult and a tedious method, though it was the traditional method. Then came the chant method. Here a pulley is there, it pulls out the water, and through the pipe the water gets into your field. Then we have the another method where manually the water is pulled, and constantly the water is pulled and let it in your field, which is called Dikit method. Then the fourth one is the method where instead of men, we are using a buller. They go round and they pull the water from the well, and this well, then it is connected to your fields, and the water gets into the fields. So these are the methods. They are the old traditional methods. Now we have developed scientific methods, and here we have the sprinklers. Here in sprinklers, the motor is connected to the well, and the water is driven out and connected to long pipes, and the nozzles are attached, and it goes round and round like a shower. The water is sprinkled in the field. But nowadays, a more developed method of dip irrigation or the drip system is developed. Here also the pulling out of water remains the same, but the pipes, they have the holes only where the plant is planted. So only the roots of the part of the plant gets the water, and the water is not wasted. After this, so here we have seen the irrigation. I hope so it's very clear, and you all know that water is very necessary for our plants. Then we come to dealing with weeds. Now, what is this weed? Weed are the plants which grow with our wanted crops, and these are the unwanted plants which grow with our wanted crops, and at the same time they take all the nutrients, all the manure from the plant, from the soil also, and Hence, they should be removed. This can be done manually also, or it can be done with the help of weedicides. You might have seen people doing spray in the fields so as to kill these plants. At the same time, now we have got our crops they are ready to be cut, and this is known as harvest. Previously, people used to do it manually with a sickle, and they used to cut the grains. Now we have the threshers which cut the grains, and after cutting out the grains, the grain have to be separated from its chaff, and this is done by threshing, that is beating up the grains. So now grain and chaffs are separated in the thresher. After this, we have the winnowing, which is done by blowing air from a source. Now when we do winnowing, what happens? You get two heaps. One is your grain and another chaff, being lightweighted, is collected next to your wheat, and we have two heaps. This way we have taken out our grain. Now the grains are ready. Now what to do with this grain? And the grains are ready in a huge quantity. So now we need to store these grains. Now these grains, that is, they are taken out, packed in the gunny bags, and are transported to the factories. And now what is to the warehouse. Now what we have to remember, that there should not be any moisture. There should not be rats and other animals in the warehouse. The warehouse should be very dry. This all things should be remembered, so that we don't harm our grains. With this, I'm sure you might be able to understand the lesson. After warehouse, the stockists, they buy the grains, and after the stockists, it's given to the retailers, and hence we get our crops, or we get our grains from the retailers. I'm sure you might have understood the lesson, and you will be able to do all the exercises yourself. With this, you will be able to do the question and answers also. If you have any doubt understanding the lesson, kindly put it in the comment box. With this, I would like to thank you, and be safe, stay home, and one more precaution, keep washing your hands and don't touch your face. Thank you so much. Take care.